Welcome, dear students. Lesson we are going to continue today is our changing earth. And the topic we are going to see effects of endogenic forces and exogenic forces. And the last point is waterfall. Okay, waterfalls. Actually, here it is written only waterfalls. Okay, so that is the topic we are going to deal today. Look at this picture carefully. You'll get basic idea. Okay, fold mountains, volcanoes, magma, and what is called two plate colliding. Of course, we will see the video. You'll get better idea.
Endogenic forces are those which are inside or beneath the surface of the earth, and exogenic forces are those which are on the surface of the earth. This causes two types of endogenic forces: slow forces and sudden forces. Slow forces, as you can see, cause the formation of mountains. This is how the Himalayas were formed. Sudden forces result in volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. Now, exogenic forces act on the surface of the earth, and these are visible to us. For example, the movement of wind, rivers, and sea waves change the surface of the land. Mountains become plateaus over time. Rivers erode mountains to form valleys and plains. So we learned about how mountains, volcanoes, and earthquakes result from endogenic forces, whereas exogenic forces erode mountains over time into plateaus, plains, and valleys.
Spreading zones and subduction zones. Keep in your mind, dear students, spreading zone and subduction zone. This is spreading zone picture. This is subduction zone picture. You can look at it. You'll get better ideas. Okay, you'll get better ideas. Okay, this is also called sliding plates, and this is called golden plates. Okay, sliding plates and golden plates. So please have a look at these pictures and you'll get better ideas.
Our topic was all about weathering, erosion, and deposition. Weathering. Weathering is a process when large rocks are broken into small pieces. Water is one way that large rocks can be weathered. During the day, precipitation in the form of rain can fill cracks in the rocks. Then at night, if the temperature is cold enough, water will freeze and expand. As the water expands, it breaks the rock into small pieces. Another cause of weathering is wind. Some wind gusts are strong enough to carry a small piece of rock. When the particles carried by the wind strike large rocks, the large rocks can be broken down. Heat from the sun is another source of weathering. As the sun beats down on earth, moisture is evaporated, creating cracks in the soil. All these types of weathering are examples of physical weathering. Another type of weathering is chemical weathering, where chemical reactions break down the bonds holding the rocks together, causing them to fall apart, forming smaller and smaller pieces. Most common types of chemical weathering are oxidation, hydrolysis, and carbonation. Erosion. Weathering breaks large rocks into smaller pieces. Erosion is the movement of the pieces of rock. There's a number of ways that the particles can move. Running water can pick up rocks and moor them downstream. The erosion in running water creates river deltas. Erosion also happens when wind picks up small particles and move them. Sandstorms are large gusts of wind carrying sand. Waves can also move sediments. Every day, water moves pebbles into shore and off of the shore. Lastly, glaciers pick up rocks and move them around. As the glaciers move the trap, rocks scrape the Earth's surface, creating valleys. Next is a deposition. Deposition is a geological process in which sediments, soil, and rocks are added to the landform or landmass. Wind, ice, and water, as well as sediments flowing via gravity, transport previously eroded sediments, which, at the loss of enough kinetic energy in the fluid, is deposited, building up layers of sediment. Deposition is the putting down or depositing of sediment, soil, and rocks. Deposition by water can form deltas. Deposition by glaciers may cause moraines. Causes of deposition. Deposition is when sediment and broken down substances are deposited or laid down somewhere. This can happen in a river when the water slows and create a new banks or delta. When the wind slows down, it can also drop sediments.
Glaciers can cause erosion in similar ways. High down from the mountains, they flow down slowly, but with enormous power. The valleys formed by glaciers often have a flatter pattern, which means they are called U-shaped valleys. Downstream, the river descent decreases, which causes the river to have less velocity, which makes erosion less likely. Especially in the lower course of a river, the river has less velocity and erosion is less likely to occur. The speed of the water flow decreases, which causes the eroded material to sink to the bottom. This process of sinking is called sedimentation. Compare this with fruit juice. When the bottle has stood still for a while, you see the heavier ingredients sink to the bottom. To mix all ingredients, you often have to shake before use. Sedimentation is important for countries which are close to the sea, like the Netherlands. This country is made up by a huge layer of sediment that is eroded upstream. If this had not happened, the Netherlands would have been a lot lower, so that it would have been flooded by the sea. Because the rivers in the lower regions of the river often split into all kinds of branches, we call this the river delta. These branches together have the shape of a triangle, which looks like the letter D in Greece, which is called delta. In the river delta, a lot of sediments sink to the bottom. These sediments often ensure that the land is fertile, causing high agricultural yields. So erosion tears down the landscape in the upper reaches of the river, while sedimentation builds the land in the lower reaches of the river.
Thank you, dear students. If you have any doubts, please ask us and clarify your doubts. Okay? Thank you very much. Enjoy your days.